Hi everyone, I'm Danny, and today I will be making the first part of an introduction series with some tips on how to play champions in Battlerite. With that said, let's jump right into it. Since it's a lot easier to do this in the selection menu order, I will be starting with Lucie, the Expelled Alchemist. She is a ranged support type of a champion with little to no escapability and a good amount of utility. She does take some patience to learn, but it will pay off in the long run. So let's start with her abilities. First, her mouse 1 ability is Toxic Bolt, which is basically a straight line projectile that deals 12 damage and applies Toxic, which is a damage over time effect and deals an additional 12 damage over 6 seconds. Note that hitting a target which is already under the effect of Toxic with another bolt will refresh the effect. Her mouse 2 ability is Healing Potion, which is a pretty simple projectile type of an ability, with a small radius around where it lands, which will heal the closest ally or her for 14 health, and will apply a heal over time effect called Revitalize, which heals for an additional 8 health over 4 seconds. Note that this ability has 3 charges, which have a separate cooldown, and it will have a reduced cooldown for each ally that is nearby. Her space ability is called Barrier, and it will shield either an ally or her for 50 damage. This is one of her main survivability spells, and you should use it with care when faced with a big burst or when trying to go heavily offensive on your enemies. Her Q ability is called Clarity Potion, and the way it works is she will throw a small projectile which will blow up on the marked location in a medium AoE and knock enemies away, but it will also remove positive effects from the enemy players and remove negative ones from allies or self. This is one of the strongest utility based spells in the game. Use it with care. Her E ability is Panic Flask, which is a crowd control type of a spell that functions as a projectile with a cast time, which will deal 12 damage to the target and inflict panic. Panic is a debuff that makes the enemy turn around and run away in fear for 2 seconds. The enemy will be running at 25% more move speed. Note that the effect can be broken if the target takes enough damage. Her R ability is called Roll, and it's the only real movement ability she has, but it does cost 25% energy, so be careful on how you use it. With this ability she will do a basic roll forward, and while rolling she will be immune to any attacks for a couple of frames. Her F ability is called Crippling Goo. This is her ultimate ability that uses 100% of energy. She will basically throw a massive vial that will create a large AoE on the ground, which will deal 18 damage on initial impact, and it will keep snaring enemies caught in it. After the initial impact, it will leave a massive poison puddle on the floor, which will deal 80 damage over a short duration of 6 seconds. Deep Poison will keep slowing enemies caught in it. Her first EX ability is called Deadly Injection, which costs 25% energy and is the modifier of Toxic Bolt, being a projectile as well but having a slightly different effect. Deadly Injection's effect will slow down the enemy hit for 15% for the duration of 2 seconds, and at the end of the duration it will explode, dealing 24 damage to the target and nearby enemies. Her second EX ability is called Petrify Bolt, which is a modifier of her Panic Flask and thus shares the cooldown. It costs 25% energy as well. The effect of Petrify will grant the enemy a shield, absorbing 20 damage but making them unable to move or cast spells for 3 seconds. Now we will move on to her Battlerites. In round 1 you will be able to choose one of the 3 options: Potency, Chaos, and Blast Shield. Potency will make your Clarity Potion heal 12 health when removing a debuff from an ally, and deal 12 damage when removing a buff from an enemy. I've personally used this when I want to boost the utility further, mostly against enemies with a lot of buff-debuff spells. Chaos will make your Panic Flask explode on hit and deal 12 AoE damage, as well as inflicting lesser panic on non-direct hit targets, which is essentially the same as normal panic with the only difference in duration, which is half. I usually use this when playing against 2 melee champions for more survivability and zoning. Blast Shield will cause your barrier spell to make a shockwave around the target that it affects, which deals 10 AoE damage and knocks back nearby enemies. I usually pick this when playing against 2 heavy melee champions with my ally being ranged. As for round 2, she can choose one of the next 3 options: Companion Potion, Adhesive Component, and Alacrity. The Companion Potion is pretty simple. It makes your Healing Potion heal for an additional 4 bonus health. Nothing special about it, just brings up your heal power a bit. This is my least favorite one among the choices. Adhesive Component makes your Clarity Potion inflict a 30% snare which lasts for 3 seconds. Mostly for crowd control bonuses. I'd use this when playing against a range and a melee combo. Alacrity will make your berry increase the movement speed of the target by 33%. I love this one most out of the three because it's very viable in many situations, especially with Lucie not having too much moon based abilities. It's best used against 2 melee champions. In round 3 we will have the following 3 options: Weakening Toxic, Hysteria, and Swift Roll. Starting out with Weakening Toxic, it will modify your passive toxic effect, so it reduces incoming healing by 20% and outgoing damage by 10%. Best used against heavy damage dealer and healer combinations. Paloma being one of the main targets of that reduction, so she has no cooldown on her M1, which is her heal. Hysteria will reduce your Panic Blast cooldown by 1.5 seconds, and if you hit an enemy it will reduce its cooldown further by 1.5 seconds more. I love picking this one up when my ally doesn't have a lot of control, giving me more control over the fight and improving the uptime of CC overall. Swift Roll is a modifier for your roll ability, and it will reduce its cooldown by 5 seconds, and additionally it will grant you a 33% movement speed bonus for 2 seconds after using roll. Again, this is a great boost for her overall mobility in a fight. I'd pick this one facing 2 melee champions. We're on round 4 now, and we have these 3 choices: Stimulant, Agility, and Vampiric Toxic. Stimulant is a very offensive Battlerite, as it gives your Vitalize the ability to increase the damage output of the target that was cast down by 15%. I love picking this when I have a heavy pressure based damage dealer with me, such as Freya. Agility is a very straightforward simple Battlerite. It increases your overall movement speed by 10%. Not one of my favorite pickups. Vampiric Toxic is pretty simple as well. It will make your toxic effect heal you for 8 health. I sometimes pick this when I require sustain, if my enemies do good heart switches or cleaves. And finally, we're at round 5, where we pick one of the final 2. Alchemy or Sticky Goo. Alchemy will make your Crippling Goo ultimate reset the cooldown on your Clarity Potion. I'd pick this when trying to make a mix build, which in general can help in some situations. Sticky Goo makes your Crippling Goo ultimate increase its move speed reduction from 40 to 70%. I love picking this one up for the sheer control, as I love timing the ultimate to grab the enemy after they use their escapes and immunity abilities. Thank you for staying through the theory crafting, and I hope you enjoyed the information that you gained through this. Now, let us jump into some gameplay with commentary and see how it works in practice. In this match, I'll be facing a ranged healer and a melee damage dealer, while playing with the ranged damage dealer myself. I've constantly made distance between us and attempted to fear as much as possible to keep my ranged damage dealer as lethal as he possibly can be. I tried to keep a good uptime on both targets with Toxic, considering it's a good damage over time effect, and I took down as many barriers and shields as possible, ensuring positioning, damage, healing, and utility as much as I could. We took the first round, after which I decided to invest into more CC, giving my Clarity some snare. In the second round, we were faced with more pressure from the enemy team, to which I had to respond by kiting and taking the least amount of damage possible, relying more on my ranged damage dealer for the continuous damage. We won the second round with more effort than the first one since we had a lot of pressure to deal with. In the third round, I decided to take the damage and healing reduction on my Toxic, seeing how the prolonged fight last round really took a toll on us. It proved to be quite effective and we won the third round with more ease.
Let's get this over with.
In the next match, I got paired up with another ranged damager. We were playing against the melee and a ranged damage dealer combo now. At first, we were trying to buy time for the rune to appear in the middle, poking and controlling the fight, playing sustain. Our best bet to win against most double damage dealer combos is of course to abuse heals and time. We won the first round. In the second round, I upgraded mobility, in order to kite the melee damager better. No doubt for us range that would be useful in this fight. However, we soon lost the round because of a lack of CC and some really bad counter hits. For the third round, I decided to get more frequent panic flasks, which would of course help out with that lack of control that we had. We won the third round and I went on to grab more damage output for the fourth round. And so we won our fourth and final round with ease. I believe that following the guidelines and mentality of playing Lucie in the ways I've shown is worthwhile and effective. Although it is in no way perfect, which I do understand and hope to improve over time. In the end, this whole video was here to simply share my thoughts and ways and hopefully learn something new myself. Thank you for watching and I hope you had an enjoyable experience. Throw a like and a subscribe if you want to see more gaming content similar to this. I would also like to hear your thoughts on the matter, so feel free to share them in the comment section below.